Hello, Orlando and folks mostly not from Orlando. Thank you so much for coming to the show and to the planner session. We're really excited to have you here. I recognize a bunch of you from the booth. My name is George Bullock. I'm the product marketing manager for Microsoft Project and for Microsoft Planner. And I'm just back at Microsoft for the last year. After about 5 years away, I've been with Microsoft on and off since 2000. And one of the reasons I came back was to get involved with work management on the Microsoft platform. And Planner is a big piece of that, and we're really excited about the product. I also know I'm the opening band, and you're all waiting for the Rolling Stones, so I'll try to keep it brief up here. But I will start with a few stories, because I like to tell stories. The first story, and I'll try to stitch them together before I turn it over to Joanna. The first story is a story about going to Maui. How many people have been to Maui? It's awesome. You should go there. Years ago, I went to Maui with my daughter, who was maybe 6 or 7. And the snorkeling's great in Maui, and we went to a place called Black Rock, which is this huge black rock, right off the beach from, I think, the Sheraton. And if you go out there, it's in 30 feet of water. It's incredible snorkeling and wonderful. So I took my daughter out. She was 7. And for some reason, I didn't even think to have, like, floaty belts or anything. And we went out there, and I was so happy. Oh, this is awesome. And my daughter was saying, oh, my mask is kind of coming off, and there's water, and it's 30 feet of water. She was talking to me, but I wasn't listening because I was so happy. I was in 30 feet of water doing this awesome snorkeling. Then I took her back to the shore, and I decided to swim around Black Rock because on the other side, it's known for having a bunch of turtles. So I started swimming around Black Rock, which is a really long swim. And I got about halfway around, and I realized that I was going to die if I didn't get onto Black Rock. So there is this hole in the middle of Black Rock about halfway around, and I climbed in, and then you're in this kind of pit, and it's all black lava, and I walked in my flippers and got back to the hotel, and I really thought about, you know, I didn't listen to my daughter, and then I didn't even listen to myself. And of course, the moral of the story is listen to your customers or die snorkeling at Black Rock. So that's the first story. The second story is I'm a musician, and I play mostly jazz. And I've done a bunch of gigs where we just get on stage, and I may not have met some of the musicians before. Some of them I may have played with 1 or 2 times. And we just kick it off. We all know the songs, or we have easy ways of knowing the songs. And sometimes after the gig, someone will come up and go, wow, how long have you guys been together? How long have you been rehearsing? And I'll kind of say, well, I just met this guy, but he and I have played together a couple of times. And they always are amazed by this. And I realize the explanation is we all have a simple visual way to know where we are and where we're going. And that's, in music, it's called a lead sheet. And it's not a big, long score. It's just a very simple chart of the song. It might have the melody, it might not, with very basic chords, but that's enough for us to work together as a team and make some great music. So that's the second story. And the last story is my daughter, I noticed that 2 of these are about my daughter. She just went to college in New York City, so I'm talking about her because I don't get to see her every day. So she came up to me and said, you know, sometimes when I have something that I need to do, I feel a pain. And that's when I told her about the endorphins you get when you click yes, or you click complete, and you get a task done, you get something done. And there's actually recently a study that came out that shows when you have an incomplete task or something, it does cause a type of psychic pain. So my daughter was actually right. So now I've told 3 stories, and let me try to bring them together. The first one is Microsoft is a big company with millions of customers who are loyal to us and come to our shows and have complaints, which we love to hear. But we're a customer-obsessed company, and we know listen to your customers or die snorkeling at Black Rock. No, listen to your customers. That's what we do. And even though we have millions of customers and it's a huge company, we really care about you. We appreciate you coming to the show, coming to our booths, talking to us about what's working, what's not working. Keep in touch with us. You're the reason we do the stuff we do. The second one is with a simple visual way to collaborate and work together, teams can get a lot done. And Joanna, the Rolling Stones of the show, will be showing you a lot of that. And the third one is, we want to make sure that you get to check that box and get that endorphin rush of, I got something done. And so we're going to talk about Planner today, which we think is an awesome tool for simple visual, get cool stuff done. Make sense? So it's get more done with Planner. Now we all know teamwork is hard. Work happens in meetings. It happens on whiteboards. It happens in hallways. It happens in chat tools. It happens in your own imagination. It happens in the imagination of your boss, which is the most dangerous kind of work. Information is all over the place. Teams are everywhere. They're on the beach. They're on the road. They're in the office. They're at home. And you need a way to still collaborate and get things done. Because that's what you want to do as a team. You want to draw pictures of light bulbs. No, you want to collaborate and get cool stuff done. You want to get up and running quickly, stay up and running, and move toward your goals. But at the same time, you do want to feel in control. You want to feel secure about knowing what you're doing, and you want to feel secure with your data. And I'm not going to mention anybody in particular, but for example, you want to know that no one's going to hack into your Kanban board and see your cards. It does happen. Not on the Microsoft platform, but it does happen. So you want to feel in control. You want to feel secure with your data. And you want to stay on track. So you want to know, where are we? Where are we going? What's next? Because you want to get cool stuff done, and you want to check that box and get that rush, got something done. But that's okay, because you've been given the perfect tool for the job. Looks kind of like this. Comes with a manual, and after a week of training, you're going to be up and running with maybe 10% of the functionality. So seriously, this may not be the tool for awesome collaborative teamwork. But actually, you do have the tool that we think is awesome for teamwork, because it's right in your Office licenses, and it's called Planner. And hopefully, how many people are using Planner now? Thank you, awesome. How many people are using Planner in the context of other tools like Teams and SharePoint and things like that? Awesome, awesome, great. So we're preaching to the choir, but we thank you for coming. With Planner, you get organized fast, you form your teams, you can invite external guests, you can build your plan in minutes, but you get to organize your tasks the way you want using those custom buckets. And yes, we've also given you some other buckets that help you with things like due dates and status. You can collaborate and be productive. You can have conversations in the context that makes sense, whether it's the plan itself, the task, or even within the documents that are a part of your plan. All your content's in one place. So you can attach content to tasks, but still that content lives in that central library of your plan. And because we have a mobile app and also the mobile app available within Teams, this is anytime, anywhere, any place, you can check that box and get that good feeling. You can know where you are because you can easily group and filter your work. You can track tasks, as we announced this week in Planner, also in To-Do. Yay, To-Do integration. And of course in Outlook as well. And you can configure notifications to keep your team on track. Get great stuff done, status at a glance with our simple visual charts. Our schedule view is really exciting, where you can drag tasks on and set the start and end dates by dragging them and see them in view or monthly or weekly view. And then, of course, check that complete box and end that psychic pain of having undone tasks. And of course, as you showed us, you can leverage Planner within Office 365, within Teams, within SharePoint. We have modern groups underlying it for security and permissions. And then I'm going to talk about this last thing and then turn it over to Joanna, and that's the platform. At Microsoft, we're really proud of the platform, and we really like to talk to customers about it because we own the platform from the ground up. We own the data centers. We run Azure in our data centers. We run our services on Azure. ground-up ownership and accountability. And that is one of the key things that I like to talk to customers about. Because whether you're using Planner, Project, Teams, whatever you're using, it's in our platform. We invest heavily in the security, compliance, performance, and scalability of that platform, and we're really happy to be able to offer it to you. So thank you for your time. George Bullock, I'll be at the booth. I think if the booth is a little more open today, we really appreciate you coming to the show and coming to this session and using Planner inside Teams. And with that, Joanna. Joanna Parkhurst is one of our completely awesome PMs. They are very motivated, they are very passionate, very smart, and they look at that user voice all the time. So make sure you're living in that user voice because they check that on a weekly basis, and that gets back to listen to your customers or die snorkeling at Black Rock. Thank you, Joanna Parkhurst.
Thanks, George. So when I first learned how to start a presentation, I learned to say your name, talk a little bit about yourself and your role, and to give an overview of what you're presenting. But recently, when I may or may not have Bing searched how to start a presentation, I learned that there are better ways to do this. That instead of just your name, role, and what you're presenting, you can start with something like a quote or an anecdote or a fact or statistic. So today, I'm going to start with all three to really kick off this session. And the first is a quote. This is something that is near and dear to my heart. It's something that I say almost every day and have been saying for years, and something that I really identify with. So that's a quote by me. And it's, "Hi, I'm Joanna Parkhurst." Most people call me Jo. So I'll let that soak in for a little bit. The next is a little story I like to tell. And it's really important to me because otherwise I wouldn't be on this stage here today. And that is, in 2017, Microsoft hired me to be a program manager on the Planner team. Yeah, life-changing. And a little statistic for you all to noodle on and get the brain moving this afternoon is 75% of the rest of this session will be a demo of Planner and its new features. 24% will be a little Q&A, and 1% will be jokes like this. So now that I all have you properly hooked into this presentation, let's start talking about Planner. So this week, it's been awesome to talk to a lot of you at the booth, in focus groups, and running into people in between sessions. We love hearing your feedback. We've been taking notes on everything that we've heard and the amount of things that we've heard as well, so that we can take it back to our team and act on it. We're still growing and moving really quickly, so we value your feedback really highly. Our tech community forum is something that our team uses to answer questions that you might have about Planner. So please check that out if you have questions or if you want to share something about how you use Planner. In addition, like George mentioned, the user voice forum is something that we check a lot. We're trying to update it more and more, but I promise that we have a Teams channel where we get an update for every new idea that comes in, and our entire team reads those and really, really appreciates those. So between those two and the feedback that we've heard this week, we have a lot of new ideas and things to share with the team and start acting on. And one of my favorite questions that we've received this week is, what's new with Planner? Like, what have you guys been doing? I like this question because it's really easy to answer, because I have a long, humble brag list about all of the things that we've shipped in the last year and all of the cool stuff that we've been up to. And it's been great to reflect on everything we've done and how much we've grown since the last Ignite as well. And when I think about the biggest contributing factors to our growth over the past year, I think one of the biggest, if not the biggest, is the talent and creativity of our engineering team. And I am consistently blown away by how much each and every person on our team cares about the end user and cares about their experience in Planner, what they think about Planner, what they like, what they don't like. And as a PM, when I suggest new features and changes, our engineering team questions it. They want to know everything about it. They want to know what users like, what they don't like. Like, they really care about what you're doing in Planner and want to make that a great experience for you. So I know some of our engineers are streaming this in Redmond right now, so hi. I miss you all already. And yeah, so with that, I will move on to the demo. I'm going to start, oh, my screen fell asleep. I'm going to switch screens. 1 second. Oh, there we go. Okay, so for anybody that doesn't know, if you have an enterprise Office license, you already have Planner. And a great way to navigate to Planner is through our direct link, which is tasks.office.com, or you can go to the Office homepage, which is where I am now, and find Planner, launch from here, or going to the app launcher and pinning it to your app launcher, which is a little tip and trick. So from here, I'm going to launch Planner, and I will first land on the Planner Hub. This is where I can find all of the plans that I'm a member of. And if I hover over a plan card, I see a little star here, and I can add it to my favorite. So puppy petting morale event, yes. And fall hackathon, here we go. So like I mentioned, our engineering team is very creative and will find and solve any problem that we bring to them. And one of the best ways that we've been able to tackle problems as a team have been hackathons. So today I'm going to be demoing how to plan a hackathon in Planner so that you all can take some best practices and tips and cool things about Planner back to your team and hopefully ignite some creativity. And so when I favorite a plan from the Planner Hub, I can quickly see an overview of the plan's status. So for the hackathon, I can see that a lot of tasks haven't even been started yet. So our hackathon is next week. We should jump in, start planning. So I'm going to click on this. Here we go. So we have some tasks that have been created already. We have swag, food and snacks, judges and awards. We got a little excited, so I'm going to add a bucket for logistics so we can make sure we have somewhere to host this as well. Oh, and I almost forgot my emoji for logistics. Here we go. Great. So buckets are used to group tasks into categories. We see a lot of our users use buckets in one of two ways. The first is to define buckets as a set of steps or status in a process so that you can move tasks along as they progress. And the second way is kind of like this, where you use buckets in a categorical way, and you can kind of visualize things in different areas. So when I think of planning a hackathon, I think of the swag and giveaways, the food and snacks, judges and awards, and now logistics. I'm going to add a couple tasks to this bucket quickly, which is sign up teams, plan the kickoff, send out schedule, and book rooms. So I've created tasks, and if I want to add details to those tasks, I can click into them, and I have description, checklist items, and I can add a file, either from my computer, I can add it as a link, or from my group's SharePoint, I can attach my kickoff presentation deck right here and see that preview of my PowerPoint on the card. The next thing I'm going to do is make sure that all of these tasks have dates assigned to them. So once I have my tasks, I actually have to turn it into a plan by putting dates on them and making sure that everything happens on time. So for the tasks that I just added, we should probably book rooms yesterday, send out the schedule day before, plan the kickoff probably day of, and start signing up teams today. And I will, let's minimize this. I will extend this to next week so we can keep on signing up people. If I want to add a task directly onto a date, I can click on the Add Task button here. I can also use the week view to add tasks here and see tasks at a more granular level laid across my next week. So next, I'm going to add a task to represent when the hackathon is. So let's do hackathon. I'll add that to my logistics bucket. And once I add this, I can extend it over multiple days. I can drag and drop it across days and get a really visual view of my dates, my tasks according to their dates. The next thing I'm going to do is, once I've realized that I have my kickoff task ready to be completed, and we just remember that we have a closing ceremony also. So I'm going to copy this task and rename it Plan Closing Ceremony. If I wanted to, I could add it to a different plan. I could move it to a different bucket, and I can change what is included when I copy it over. So since I attached my deck for the kickoff, I'm going to not include that because I want to have a different deck for the closing ceremony. Great. And so I have a couple tasks assigned to me, but I can't do this alone. So I'm going to add a few members to my plan to make this happen. So I'm going to add Adele, Alex, Brian, Pradeep, and Patty. Now that these other teammates are a member of this plan, I can assign them a task by either clicking on this ellipses menu directly on the card and clicking Assign. So I'll assign this to Adele. I can open a task and assign them from here. Alex can do this. Or I can group by Assign To. So I can see the different members of my team and drag and drop into their column to assign them that task. This helps me make sure that everything is out of the unassigned bucket and everybody has a couple tasks. Oh my gosh, is this gonna let me? Oh, Wi-Fi, no. Okay, well, I'll just do this here. There we go, okay. Great, so as you might have noticed, Brian, who I added as a member, is actually a guest to the tenant. Now that Planner supports guest access, Brian, who is actually our catering vendor, can work alongside us within Planner and within Teams and anywhere that we're having our conversations so that that chain of communication is even shorter and we can make sure we're getting up-to-date notifications and communications from him. So I have my tasks, I have my buckets, I've laid them all out and assigned them. And one thing I want to make sure I do is add labels to each of my tasks to represent priority. So labels allow us to have an extra dimension of categorization across buckets so that if I want to emphasize something like priority or a type of project or a t-shirt size cost for tasks, I can do that there. So let's see, swag. Okay, so I can add and change the name of labels here. Some people might think that fidget spinners are a nice to have, but I really wanted to emphasize that this needs to be taken care of as soon as possible. And between buckets and within buckets, I can drag and drop tasks to make sure that that priority is emphasized as well. And if I want to see my tasks organized by labels, I can utilize the group by views, which are built in and very easy to switch between to see how they're laid out between these. There we go. So I have my tasks, I have everything scheduled, everything planned and assigned. The last thing I'm going to do to set up my plan is add it to our team. So here's my fall hackathon team. And in the general channel or in any channel, I can click on the Add Tab button and add a planner tab. From here, I can either create a new plan or use an existing plan. So in this case, I'll use the Fall Hackathon plan. Great. So alongside my conversations and files, I can make sure that it's easy to switch in between the tasks and the conversations. If I want to talk about this plan, I can open up the tab conversation on the side here and say something about the plan. I use a lot of exclamation points. And in my conversations feed, I can see that surfaced as a reply to the tab thread that is started. Another thing, if I want to, since we're planning this hackathon alongside all of our other work, Teams makes it easy to not interrupt us and not distract us and have a switch between context that is too full of friction. But if I want to see these on my Outlook calendar as well, so I can keep track of them with my other work, I can go to the Settings tab, or the ellipses menu, click on Add Plan to Outlook Calendar. And when I publish the iCalendar feed, I'll see it appear below. I can copy and paste this feed into any calendar that supports iCalendar feeds. Or if I want to just add it to Outlook, I can click on Add to Outlook here. Outlook will pop up and will populate the iCalendar feed menu with my link. And then I can change the calendar name here if I'd like to. Otherwise, I can go ahead and save. And I'll see those tasks start to show up on my calendar. This helps me keep track of everything alongside my other work, and then I can quickly jump back into Teams if I need to make any changes. Okay, so in addition to the Teams tab that you can add for Planner, if you want the My Task view and the hub view of, or the hub list of plans, you can also add the Planner app to Teams. So I've already added it here, but if I click on Go to Store, I'll see Planner right here. And when I open the Planner app in Teams, I get the My Tasks view, where I can see what I haven't started. I can group by plan, so I can see all of my tasks across plans. I can say, hi, moms. Check that off. Hey, she's watching. And group by due date, which is something that is my favorite view in Planner, because amongst all the chaos and different things that are happening, it's nice to see things laid out in chronological order of when they need to be done. And if something starts to slip, I can quickly move them next week, if things aren't going so well. And so in addition to this, all of the views of the Planner board have the filter on it. So I can filter by a certain task entity and see a subset of my tasks. So for instance, if I want to see all of the tasks that I'm assigned to, I'm Megan in here, and are high priority, I can filter down the plan board. So on the Planner team, we do a lot of planning, and we actually have a cross-functional team called Planner Planning, where we track all of our work in the Planner Planning Planner plan. And yes. And so that helps us keep everything in one place so we can see all the different things that are happening across work streams and who's doing what. But sometimes I just want to jump in and see what I need to do. So filters help me quickly answer that question of, what do I need to do this week? What needs to be done in this area? Is there anything that's late, that's high priority, that kind of thing, so I can combine certain criteria and view my tasks by that. Okay, so I'm going to clear these filters. So we're in Teams. We have our Planner tab. We're talking about things. And I can see that there is an update on, where'd it go? Here we go, down here. on the sign-up teams task that Adele has updated. She said, just created a form for sign-ups and a SharePoint site to spread the word. Let me know what you think. So I'm going to check this out. Let's open the sign-up form. Oh gosh, wait. Let's open this up in my, oh, here we go. Oh, can't open it because I'm in private browser. Okay. Anyways, so Adele has created a sign-up form using forms for hackathon teams so that it's really easy for them to just add a project name, a description, who's on their team, and she's also created a SharePoint site so that we can send out this form and share it with the world. Let's see. Oh my gosh. Sorry, y'all. Hey Adele, can you instant message me this link? She may or may not be sitting right here. Oh, I can also open it from this ellipses menu here. I have the sites option, so I can jump into the Fall Hackathon SharePoint site. There we go. Great. Okay, so we have our page for the Fall Hackathon sign up that we're going to share with all of our team members so they can sign up and create their own hackathon teams. We have our beautiful form here, and I have an idea. I think that we can use our responses to this with Planner so that we can organize all of the steps that each hackathon team needs to take from signing up to submitting their final project. So from the app launcher, I'm going to launch Flow. And I've already created a Forms to Planner flow in the past for volunteer signups. So I'm going to click on this ellipses, Save As, to create a new flow connection for my hackathon responses to Planner. Great, so then I can edit this to update which form, which form the responses come from, sign up for Fall Hackathon, and what plan those responses are sent to. So I'm going to send that to hackathon teams. And I can add things like start date, due date, assignee. I can change the bucket that it lands in. So let's see. If they complete the form, we'll put them in the completed form bucket, and I'll save it here. And when I save it, it'll start running the flow so that every time I have somebody complete the form, it will add it to our team plan, team sign-up plan. There we go. Okay, so back to SharePoint. Because we have the SharePoint web part, I can add a web part for the status of these signups as they come in. So I can either add it as a chart or as a board. I'll edit my page, and when I see the little plus sign up to add a web part, here we go. I can search for Planner here. Select Planner. And I can choose a plan to show in this site as a web part. And I can either show the board, which is what we've been looking at. I can show the entire charts view, or I can pick a certain chart to show. And this can help me share out information about my plan. These can be edited and updated as your plan progresses. And in addition to these web parts that can be added, from the home, oh, stay. I need to publish. Okay, here we go. From the home page, I can add a plan as a full page app. So once I click on the new button, I can select plan, and I can either create a new plan to live here, or I can use an existing plan and see that there. So I will do my fall hackathon plan, create it, and I'll see it right here. And the charts view works here as well. Group by, filter, everything we just showed works as well. So we've set up our plan, we've created a form for signups, we've added a flow so that those signups go into a plan to organize our teams and who's doing what. And we've added them to SharePoint so that we can share out our progress and what teams are involved and everything that's happening with this hackathon. And lastly, I'm going to switch back to the presentation. Here we go. Can you see the demo? Okay, cool. I recorded this beforehand because, like I said, my mom and my friends are watching, so I knew that they would send embarrassing text if I did this live. But here's the Planner app. We have apps for iOS and Android. I can open this hackathon team plan. I can make changes on the go. So as I'm running around the hackathon and I'm, trying to set things up and I'm talking to people, I can make sure that my plan that has all of my teams in it is updated, and I'm registering people and signing people in, and we're taking notes of everything that we need to, and that everybody else on my team can do the same. And this team needs waterproof AV equipment because they're saving the world. Yeah, and now the Planner iOS app supports iPads, and the Android app supports tablet view, and the iPad app was actually a hackathon project from our team alongside our React. A year or two ago, we rewrote our UI to be React-based so that everything is very performant and smooth and cohesive, and that was one of the best decisions we made because now we have a beautiful UI that we can update and deploy really frequently. So if we have bug fixes and new things to do, we can put those together and move really fast. So here's the app. And then I promised that I would demo something really new and shiny today. So I'm going to switch back to my laptop. Okay. And everybody that stopped by the booth, I see a lot of familiar faces, asked about or mentioned the pain point when using Planner a lot in their teams and everything's going great, but we have this process, or we have this thing we have to do on a regular basis. And we create Planner plans for, but the longer we've been using it, the more cumbersome it becomes to create a new plan every time I want to repeat something, manually copy over all those tasks. It's time-consuming, and it's also worrisome that something is going to get lost in the shuffle. So we have been developing a copy plan feature, and we're working on wrapping this up, but I'll be demoing it today. So within the ellipses menu, there's an option to copy a plan. I can also do this from the Planner Hub. So after our hackathon, everything's gone great. Our team loved it. We had all these great things come out of it. Leadership wants us to have another one in the spring. So I'm going to select Copy Plan and rename this to be Spring Hackathon. Did I spell? Yeah, okay, Hackathon. And we're copying a plan. And it's ready to go. I can go to my Spring Hackathon plan. I have all of my tasks there. I have a fresh template to start from. And we're ready to go for next time. So this is something that we've been talking a lot about, our step towards making Planner easier to use over a bigger group of people in a longer amount of time. So as we've been growing, we've been hearing a lot about how people are using Planner, and that helps us understand how to bring to life something like this. So we had copy task, we had copy task to another plan. Now we have copy plan, and we still want to improve upon this. We still want to make this process better, so we're looking for feedback from you all on how you're using this, what you like, what you don't like, what options you might need, what things can help your team use Planner better and be more productive. So I'm excited for us to roll this out soon and hear what you guys have to say about it. So now that I've shown copy plan, I'm going to head back to the slides again. There we go. And talk a little bit about our integrations and some of the things that we like about our integrations and kind of our vision for where these are going. So Planner in Teams has been very popular. We get a lot of people talking about rolling these out at the same time to their organizations, how it's a really great story and people love it, and we want to continue to support that and make sure that the experience in our web app mirrors the experience in Teams, and everything that we roll out in the web is also rolled out in Teams, either at the same time or shortly after. And we'll continue to invest in this area. We showed the Planner and SharePoint integration. There are a lot of really nuanced and interesting things about how people use SharePoint, and we're still learning about all of the different applications and things you can do with it. And so hearing from you all this week about how you use SharePoint and how you use Planner and how you'd like to use those together has been very interesting. And so we want to make sure that the things that you can do in SharePoint that are really productive and helpful, we can tie into those well and make sure that this is a very customized integration and not just, Planner elsewhere. And we have talked about this a little bit, but this is in active development, our Planner and To-Do integration. When we talk about the task ecosystem in Microsoft, we want to make sure that there is a very clear story when you move from personal tasks in To-Do to group tasks in Planner, and then into more robust tasks and functionality in Project. And so we're really, really excited about this. We're excited about all of the other things that To-Do is doing as well, and they've been awesome to work with. But overall, this is a screen of one of our designs, and we want for the tasks that you are assigned to in Planner to show up alongside all of your other To-Do tasks. So when you when you organize your day in the morning, you can see all of your tasks from Outlook that you've created, all of the tasks that you've written down in To-Do, all of your Planner tasks and tasks coming from other tools that you use. Right alongside each other, you can add them to your day, you can check them off, and you know that that will be relayed to Planner and updated there as well. So that's really exciting. We are, like I said, in active development. I was hoping to be demoing it this Ignite, but we're hoping to roll it out soon, very soon. I'm trying to remember what my manager told me to say and not say. And then Planner and Project. As someone who talks to Planner users a lot, and as some of you might not know, we actually are in the same organization as Project, and we sprouted out of Project. It's really exciting that this week Project has announced all of the things that I couldn't talk about, or not all of them, but basically brought to life this vision that we've been working on for a modern project experience and what some of our first steps towards that look like. And the roadmap is a new feature in Project that everyone on our team is very excited about, and we were happy to be able to demo it this Ignite. And so for those who don't know, roadmap is a kind of a timeline view of how your projects across different endpoints roll up and how their milestones and key dates align and converge onto a overlying timeline. So I think V1 Project will release, you can add a project as a row, you can add a Visual Studio or Azure Boards project, and Planner hopes to be the very next type of project or row that you can add to that, so that you can see information across Planner plans. You can pull out tasks and see how they align on key dates, and you can add milestones and dates to the top and get a high-level view, that portfolio-level view. And so this is just one of the first steps. With every step, we've been thinking about how Planner and Project can create this beautiful story of how you start, planning a plan, and you have the robust functionality and the scheduling and the logic and all the stuff that makes Project an amazing tool, and how that is going to trickle down and work well with Planner. So that's one of our biggest topics and challenges today, but we're really excited about some of the things we've been working on. So as I mentioned earlier, if you think of the scale of complexity and purpose of all of the task tools in Microsoft, To Do on one end is the personal hub for your personal tasks. Very simple, easy to add, complete. Planner is for your team to collaborate on tasks, to have the ability to add a little bit more detail, to add files and other things there. And then Project is, the project management tool that you can use to make sure all of these smaller initiatives and goals are coming together and working towards a long-term or more complex vision. And what's next for Planner? So a quick recap of what we've recently shipped. For our core experiences, we've shipped guest access support, copy task to another plan, bucket chart on our charts page, in addition to the status and assigned, or the members chart, there we go. Create a link to a task or plan so you can quickly copy that link and send it in an email or a chat and reference back to it. Outlook integration via iCalendar, which is what I showed with the iCalendar link. Our mobile improvements, lots of really cool stuff. iPad app, Intune integration, push notifications, so you get a notification on your phone when you've been assigned a task, and Android tablet support. And another slide of recently shipped, Teams integration. We added the personal planner app. There we go, lots of words that start with P. Teams plans in the Planner Hub, so when you create multiple plans within a single team, you can see that little breadcrumb underneath the plan name of what team and channel that plan belongs to. So as this was one interesting thing that we were hearing a lot as people were using Planner more and long term, that sometimes I have a planner name called Plan, and I create it in different teams, so I want to be able to understand where it's coming from, what it falls under, etc. Additional group by options, so we added group by label and group by due date, and again, want to hear feedback on what you use, what you like, how you want them to show up when you first open a planner. And for our SharePoint integration, our first two big steps were the web part and the full page app, and we're continuing to invest in this integration. And one more slide on recently shipped, extensibility, our flow connections, triggers for complete, create, delete, setting attachments on task details, and our graph API, we wanted to make sure that was equally as robust as the app itself. So this is something that we achieved a level of robustness, and with every new feature that we add to Planner, we'll be making sure that the graph API, any necessary endpoints are there alongside those at the same time. So that'll kind of grow with us. And for enterprise business policies, something that a lot of people in this room care about, groups, management, support, so soft delete naming policy, expiration policy, classification, single sign-on and conditional access, GDPR support, and my personal favorite, accessibility improvements. So I'm an accessibility driver or cheerleader on the project and planner team, and this has been a really cool space to be able to help out with over the past year. Microsoft and Office and our team have had a lot of support top down, and not just words and marketing stories and blogs, but actual investments and prioritization of work that allows us to grow and improve our accessibility experiences. So one thing we did that was really cool is partner with the Shepherd Center to do research with their Accessibility User Research Collective and learn from users who use accessible tools like screen readers, high contrast mode, magnifier in their daily lives to understand what kinds of tools and practices would help them and their teams organize their work, track tasks, complete tasks, communicate about those tasks, so that Planner specifically can do more in that area and go above and beyond just being a compliant state of accessibility. Just we don't want to view it as just a checkbox, but a beautiful story alongside what we're also doing. Yeah, and so that's great, and our iOS app received an internal recognition for being really efficient and delightful, and we hope that our web app and our iOS app, or Android app, will also receive that soon. So that's been really cool. A couple things coming soon: copy plan, I demoed, to-do integration we talked about, Teams notifications, and more guest access improvements. So today, guests can work alongside you in Planner. We want to make sure that guests, moving forward, we add things like inviting guests from within Planner. And Planner and GovCloud. Yes, I hear yeses, yay! Yes, we've done a lot of meetings, and after we had all the meetings about that, we had more meetings and a lot of other meetings on GovCloud. So we're happy to have reached the point where we got the thumbs up, and at this point, it's our turn to plug everything in and roll things out. So you should be seeing GovCloud support coming in Planner very soon for GCC low and high. And so our framework for future work tends to fall underneath one or more of these categories. The first is expanding integrations within Microsoft 365. Second is improving Planner's core experiences. Everybody just want to hear about GovCloud, I guess. Improving our core experiences across all endpoints, and continued attention to extensibility and enterprise policies. So what this means for enterprise and business policies is Tier D compliance. We're currently Tier C, checking off things to get to Tier D. More Microsoft Graph APIs, like I said, growing with our product. E-discovery and audit log integration, which is what a lot of organizations are asking for. Integrations from Teams, easily create and capture tasks from conversations. Within SharePoint, create tasks from lists and doc libraries. Project roadmap integration, talked a little bit about that. And Excel, export to Excel. We've been hearing a lot, yay! We've been hearing a lot, especially at this conference, about the need for reporting and maneuvering of data within Planner. So we hope that this will provide a great first step towards a reporting story in Planner. And again, this is especially an area we want lots of feedback on. We want to not just hear that you want it, but what are you going to do with it once you have it? You know, like what kind of visualizations do you want? What kind of things and tasks are you going to do once there is export to Excel? How often you would be exporting, etc. And future work for core experiences. Copy plan, another step in this direction. So we're thinking about a template experience and what that might look like in Planner. We're going to make sure, or we want to wait and see how people are using copy plan, what they're asking for, what kind of options and things we can provide there. But yeah, and then task activity and history. So there is a summary of what's been changed, what has happened recently within a task. App mentions and comments, another big ask, and task following. So you can choose to receive notifications for tasks that you deem important to you. And grid view, this is my most exciting thing. I've been working on this a lot, and we have our partners in project that are helping us out with this. I'll move to a bigger screen. Here we go. Yeah, and so this is in addition to the board, the chart, the schedule view, a spreadsheet-esque view of your tasks. We heard a lot of kind of spread out feedback about things like, I want to see more tasks at one time. I want to be able to change, assign people to multiple tasks at the same time. I want to sort all of my tasks by due date. So we hope that this is something that will alleviate some of those pain points with those. So that was my last slide on our roadmap. If you're as excited about Planner, everything you can do with it, what we're doing, if you're not using it already, go to tasks.office.com. Download our mobile app. If you on your mobile phone right now type in aka.ms/Planner mobile app, you'll be redirected to your app store and the Planner page within that app store to download our app. And like I mentioned earlier, join our conversation on Tech Community if you have questions, if you have things you want to share, best practices, we'd love to hear it. And vote for new features and ideas on planner.uservoice.com. So at this time, let's see, we have, perfect. We have about 20 minutes left, so we'll switch it over to Q&A. Yay! Cool. Yes?
With each plan, how does, well, let me ask better this way. How does a plan relate to an Office 365 group or a team? So as you were adding members to the plan that you were creating, were you adding them to an Office 365 group or a team? If you put a plan into a team, how does that relate to the, the people that are assigned tasks as far as their membership of that team?
Yeah, great question. So groups is the underlying foundation for how we dictate membership and permissions for Planner and teams. So when I create a new plan, I create a new group. When I add people to that plan, I'm adding people to that group. When I add a Planner tab to a Teams channel, that group has the same, for the plan, should have the same underlying group as the team that it's being added to. If I add another team, if I add another Planner tab to that team, it's the same access, membership, permissions as that. So it kind of groups everything together. Gotcha. Yeah. Thanks. Any other questions? Oh, yeah.
So we just tried this in the back end. File limitation size on adding a file inside a task. We're dumping out at 100 megs. Is that the cap, and is it going to stay that way?
So I don't know the size off of the top of my head because our file attachments are supported by SharePoint. So when you add a attachment to a task, you're uploading it to the SharePoint file for that group. Yeah, but reach out to me and I can direct you. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, and, oh, go ahead.
Is the translate function available in Planner? Because we use the translate function a lot with Outlook and now with Teams, but is that available also in Planner?
Could you tell me more about the translate feature?
So if you get an email come through in Chinese or German or something, you've got a button, you can click it and it automatically put it back into English for you.
Yeah, so I know that we support like 250-something locales, and so depending on the end user, they can change their language within their browser or within their Office settings to...
So when they log on to Planner,
Yeah.
that translate button that's available in Teams or in Outlook or et cetera, or in Word, they can't just click on that and change the plan into the local language?
You should be seeing all of the plan information in your local language, regardless of what language it was inputted in, if that makes sense. But we can talk more about this after, if I'm not understanding correctly.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. Oh.
Hi.
Hi.
We noticed that it seems to be the case that Planner always relies on the Exchange mailbox, so there's no mailbox provisioned for some users, and these are not able to comment, for example. Is that a known issue, and will you work on that?
Are you talking about guest users in particular, or just any members without?
Yeah, we have external users that should not have a mailbox, but they want to work with Planner.
Yeah, so we've heard this about guest access. This is on our wish list for guest access improvements to be able to support notifications for guests, because currently guests, when they're added to a tenancy, don't have that Exchange mailbox. We do have to work with Exchange on this to figure out what that looks like, and I know that SharePoint and Teams and any other products that rely on emails are also going through this. So we're kind of working together to figure out how, what this might look like, but yeah, this is one of our top things that we'd like to improve with guest access.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Over here.
Well, I know I talked to you the other day
Yeah.
about copying buckets, so it's actually kind of exciting that we have the copy plan feature. Is there anything in the roadmap when you go to copy a plan that'll also copy all the assignments for those buckets?
Sorry, so when you copy a plan, it'll copy...
Obviously you shown in the hackathon, you can assign individual people to those tasks. So if you have all those assigned in those specific buckets and you go to copy that plan, can those same assignees go with that plan?
Okay, gotcha. So because we have the relationship with groups now, so when you create a new plan, you create a new group, we can't automatically add new members and assign tasks to that new plan. But with our teams, with our support of multiple plans per team, we are working on multiple plans per group in the Plan web app as well. So once we support multiple plans per group, we'll be able to support kind of different settings within copy plan. So if you want to copy over assignees, that's something that you can choose. Currently with copy task to another plan, you can see that if you copy task to a plan within the same group, you have the option to copy over assignee as well. So that's kind of the line of thinking. As far as per bucket, is there a reason why it would be just for that bucket or across the entire plan?
Across the entire plan.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm kind of anticipating the feedback from copy plan to be, wait, I want to copy over assignees too. So we're simultaneously working on multiple plans per group so that we can support that improvement for copy plan.
So second question.
Yeah.
I think you alluded a little to this. So is there going to be an integration in the future between Planner and tasks and to-do lists and Outlook?
So, so to-do, I don't know their exact messaging for how they're integrating and doing things with Outlook, but the idea being is when you, so currently in Outlook you have the tasks little tab within next to your inbox and calendar for that tasks tab to be the to-do experience. So you can create,
Pardon
bless
me.
you. Oh my gosh. So to-do will have the same capabilities and kind of will take over and frame Outlook tasks. So those will be the same thing. So that's your personal tasks coming from your email that you can convert to tasks, that kind of thing. And then our integration with Planner will kind of loop those together. Does that answer your question? Sorry if that.
I think it kind of does.
Distracted by the sneeze.
Are you basically saying that the to-do app, as you've shown it, will
Yes.
tie with Outlook,
Yes,
but Planner will still be its own thing?
correct.
Got it. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi. So I guess kind of like the question was related to what he was asking. So like, is there a way to get an email translated to a task in Planner, sort of in Outlook? This is kind of like, yeah, sort of the thing.
Yeah. So we started work on an Outlook add-in. And alongside of our work with the to-do team, we kind of realized that it's a better story to start in to-do and, you know, have those turn into Planner tasks there, if that makes sense. I think in the future, we'd like to pursue the ability to add a task from the to-do tasks experience directly to a Planner plan. But that's not V1 for us, but I think that's something that's a story we want to absolutely support. So we're just figuring out the best way to do that now. Would you want to?
In my opinion,
Yeah.
to do is, it doesn't have any place. I mean, Planner is already kind of easy, so I don't know, but I mean, that's my opinion. So
You can have that opinion.
exactly.
It's a good one.
So yeah. By the way, it's a good session, so very fun.
Oh, great, thanks. Cool, hi.
Hi, you were showing such a roadmap view, but only from projects. As we are using a planner for the whole team workload, I'm looking for such a view, but without projects, as we're not using projects. So is there a plan to do something like that in Planner as well, such a view? Or maybe together with Excel, to like a Gantt chart view, something to generate something like this?
Okay, so there's so this is an area that we're still thinking about and trying to understand, you know, what we can do here. I think that I kind of see like two potential routes, and one being, you know, with the support of multiple plans per group, is there something we can do there to aggregate information about all the plans within that group, so you can see, you know, of all the members of this group, how many tasks are they assigned, something like that. There's there's a lot of other ways to implement it and think about it and think about I want to see who I'm working with and their tasks and plans and stuff like that. So if there's a particular scenario or a way in which your team would benefit from this, like very detailed, like I would want these 3 plans up here and that kind of thing, that is the type of feedback that really helps us understand what the best option here is. So if you want to add that to user voice or tech community or send it to me directly, I'd love to hear it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks.
thanks.
Hi.
My question is that, is there a way to create a linked task to be able to see tasks from other plans?
Gotcha. So do you mean having the same task in multiple plans and having them
Updated automatically.
Yeah. That's another thing that we've been kind of getting an uptick in asks for very recently. That's something that we'll definitely think about, and that's one of the toughest or biggest bullet points I'm gonna send out to the team that people are asking for, so we can start thinking about how to do that. But that's a great idea. I can see the uses in that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi. We are using Planner for agile projects.
Okay.
And their vocabulary like velocity, story points. Are you planning to provide some kind of manual fields where you can sum up story points for a bucket or some kind of this?
Yeah, so if you think of the robustness of Planner and everything that you can do within a task now, and then you think of project over here that has all of the customization and stuff, and this middle space where we get a lot of asks for custom fields, I want to have story points and prioritization, that kind of thing. Our team is thinking a lot about that middle space and how to account for that and how to best reach that. So whether it's a project, leaning on Planner, whether it's something in the middle, I don't know. We're working on that, but we get a lot of asks, and Planner may or may not choose to support custom fields. I feel like I'm going to get in trouble for saying that, but yeah.
Okay,
Great, thank you.
This will probably be the most technical question you've had.
Bring it on.
And before I drive 600 miles home, I need to know how you put those emojis in the bucket now at the top.
Yeah, so it is the Windows key and the semicolon key at the same time. And that's about it. And yeah, I know a lot about Windows, so. Yeah, I'm glad it made me look cool, yeah. But you can add them to like a lot of things. So it's really easy and fun, except very time consuming because it's easy to get distracted on which emoji. I had to pick out which emojis I wanted to add beforehand because I would otherwise just spend the whole time scrolling through it.
Emoji planning app so we can plan which emojis we're going to put on our plan.
Great idea. I'm going to take that back to the team. I'll write that down. We'll work on that, yeah.
Great
Thanks. Cool. Any more questions? Awesome. Thanks a lot for coming.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for
Joanna
your time.
Parker.
Yay.